At 84 years old, Sir Cliff Richard stands out as a remarkable figure in entertainment, not because he clings to the past, but because he embodies vitality, relevance, and grace in a way few artists ever achieve. Seeing him today can feel almost surreal for those who remember the young man who first burst onto the British music scene in the late 1950s. Time seems to have treated him with unusual kindness. His posture remains upright, his movements confident, and his expression alert and welcoming. There is no sense of someone lingering in the shadow of former glory. Instead, there is a vibrant presence, a man fully engaged with life, curious, purposeful, and unmistakably himself, moving through the world with a gentle authority earned from decades of experience. The boy who changed British pop. Long before accolades and lifetime honours, Cliff Richard was a young performer with a guitar, a voice, and an instinct for melody that would transform British popular music. Songs like Move It and Living Doll didn't just climb the charts. They signalled a cultural shift. Britain discovered a pop idol who could stand alongside emerging rock and roll voices from across the Atlantic while remaining distinctly homegrown. Cliff's appeal was never purely musical. There was a warmth and sincerity to him that resonated deeply with young audiences and intrigued older listeners. He wasn't rebelling for the sake of it. He was offering something fresh, energetic, and full of hope. Even from the start, he carried a sense of optimism that has stayed with him throughout his career. Fame without losing ground. As Cliff Richard's success grew, he faced a challenge that has tested countless artists: how to remain grounded while the world places you on a pedestal. For him, the solution was not in excess or indulgence. Instead, he embraced discipline and consistency, maintaining routines, respecting his craft, and leaning into personal values that kept him centered. Fame became something he managed rather than something that controlled him. That conscious choice, made early and repeated consistently over decades, shaped not only the longevity of his career, but also the way he approached life itself. Rather than being overwhelmed by the spotlight, he learned to coexist with it, creating a foundation for calm confidence that endures to this day. A career built on adaptation. One of the most impressive aspects of Cliff Richard's career is his ability to evolve while staying true to himself. Over the decades, as musical trends shifted and audiences changed, he adapted thoughtfully without losing his identity. He explored new sounds, collaborated with different producers, and updated his public image in ways that felt authentic rather than performative. This balance allowed him to remain present and relevant across generations, not as a novelty act, but as a respected artist whose work continued to connect with listeners. For Cliff, reinvention has never been about chasing relevance or erasing the past. Instead, it's been about staying honest in the present, embracing new ideas while honoring the foundation that made him who he is. Aging in the public eye. Aging is a challenge for anyone, but doing so in public introduces an additional layer of scrutiny. For Cliff Richard, every appearance becomes a point of observation, yet he has never sought to deny or hide the passage of time. Instead, he meets it with composure and care. He dresses thoughtfully, carries himself with confidence, and understands that presentation is not about pretending to be younger than he is, but about showing respect for oneself at every stage of life. His appearance today reflects consistency and self-care rather than illusion. It is the result of decades of mindful choices rather than sudden attempts to reverse the clock. The grace with which he carries himself offers a quiet lesson in embracing age rather than resisting it. The voice that still resonates. Even after decades in music, Cliff Richard's voice remains striking for its clarity, control, and emotional resonance. While time naturally affects tone and range, his mastery of phrasing and expression endures. He knows his instrument intimately, respects its limits, and works within them rather than forcing performance. This maturity allows his music to feel intimate, warm, and confident rather than strained. Listening to him today is not an exercise in nostalgia. It is a reminder that artistry deepens when skill meets experience. His continued presence on stage and in recordings demonstrates how dedication and respect for craft can sustain a musician's voice and relevance across generations. Choosing to stay present. In an industry that often encourages older artists to step aside, Cliff Richard has charted a different path. He does not stage dramatic farewells, nor does he cling desperately to the spotlight. Instead, he appears when he has something to share and steps back when he doesn't. This balance gives authenticity to his continued work. Audiences sense that he is present because he genuinely wishes to be, not out of fear or obligation. That simple, quiet choice conveys dignity and purpose. By showing up on his own terms, he demonstrates that presence is meaningful when intentional, not performed. In this way, Cliff's career continues with both relevance and grace, illustrating a path few artists navigate successfully. Style as self-respect. Cliff Richard's style has always been an extension of self-respect rather than trend-chasing. He favors well-fitted, timeless pieces and clean lines, demonstrating care and confidence. His clothing reflects authenticity and intentionality rather than an effort to impress or conform. This consistency communicates ease and comfort, reinforcing that true style comes from confidence rather than conformity. Dressing thoughtfully is not about appearing young, it is about honoring oneself. His approach suggests that personal style can be a reflection of inner values and respect, a quiet form of self-expression that transcends age. The ease with which he presents himself is as much about character as it is about clothing, revealing an understanding of grace in both appearance and demeanor. The power of saying no. An often overlooked reason for Cliff Richard's longevity is his willingness to say no. No to excess, no to burnout, and no to opportunities that do not align with his values. This discernment has protected his health, energy, and enthusiasm for music. By choosing carefully where to invest time and effort, he preserves joy and focus. In a culture that prizes constant output, restraint becomes a form of wisdom. The ability to decline is not avoidance, but a conscious effort to maintain integrity and clarity. His selective approach allows him to engage fully with the opportunities that matter, sustaining creativity and presence without dilution, illustrating that longevity often comes from balance as much as from ambition, a life lived deliberately. Everything about Cliff Richard today points to a life lived intentionally rather than reactively. His routines, career decisions, and relationships reflect thoughtfulness. He does not rush to prove relevance or seek external validation. Instead, he trusts the foundation he has built and allows his presence to convey meaning. This deliberate approach cultivates calm assurance and a sense of purpose. He demonstrates that a well-lived life is composed of choices made with clarity rather than haste. Observing his way of being encourages reflection on how we approach time, energy, and opportunity, offering an example of how thoughtful living can lead to fulfillment, resilience, and sustained creativity over decades. Inspiration without preaching. What makes Cliff Richard inspiring is that he never frames his life as a set of instructions. He does not prescribe how others should live, age, or perform. Instead, he demonstrates through example what has worked for him. This authenticity allows others to draw their own lessons without feeling pressured or judged. Inspiration emerges naturally from observing him in action, through music, interaction, and presence. By living honestly and consistently, he shows the value of discipline, care, and engagement without needing slogans or proclamations. His life is an invitation to reflect on what matters and to cultivate balance, curiosity, and purpose, proving that authentic inspiration often comes from observation rather than instruction. Still standing, still moving forward. Even at 84, Cliff Richard is not standing still. He remains open to creativity, connection, and contribution in multiple forms, from music to conversation to quiet presence. His life demonstrates that purpose does not expire, and growth does not end at a certain age. It simply transforms. He engages with the world on his own terms, showing curiosity, flexibility, and attentiveness. Watching him continue to move forward with interest, discipline, and joy offers reassurance that later life can be a period of exploration, fulfillment, and meaningful engagement. His ongoing journey reminds us that vitality is a mindset as much as a condition of the body, and that contribution and presence can extend well into advanced years. A star that glows differently. Cliff Richard's light has not dimmed with time. It has softened, deepened, and radiated outward in new ways. Where once it dazzled with youthful brilliance, now it steadies with calm assurance. Where once it thrilled, now it reassures. In an era obsessed with youth, he provides something far more valuable, a demonstration that aging with care, self-respect, and discipline can be a stage of quiet brilliance. Seeing him today is inspiring, not because he appears youthful, but because he looks whole, integrated, thoughtful, and fully engaged. His life reminds us that the passage of time can enhance character, deepen artistry, and cultivate presence, offering a vision of later life that is as inspiring as it is attainable.